How, but actually, though, with the comment you just made, what is the effect that you're seeing on the recruiting with the transfer portals, the direct effect with these kids?
Yeah, I mean, to me, and it's sort of anecdotal, and I don't know what, but it's everything you hear, and it's everything I think that's kind of coming to fruition that, these high school kids just aren't getting recruited until the portal's sort of in place, and the shuffling around, the merry-go-round stops, and it never really does. I think, here in the next week or so, you'll have a better idea on the rosters going forward for next year. And then I think things could slow down a little bit as far as the that stuff goes, the moving around. Then you'll see maybe the high school recruiting will pick up some, but you're always going to have those highest level guys, I think, get recruited at a really high level, and then it's sort of the next level is getting somewhat forgotten a little bit, and it's sort of on hold, because I think it's easier for college coaches to go after these guys in the portal, because they have a proven track record, or they don't have a track record, so they don't go after those guys. So, and then those guys kind of fall through the cracks. But, it's just really changed a lot. I mean, I probably saw the Nigel Pack situation on Saturday with him going to Miami, and you're going to see more and more of that. And it's just, and I'm not saying it's great for Nigel. I mean, why, if I was Nigel, I'd be in Miami in a heartbeat,
I'd be doing backflips right now.
Yeah, I'd be doing, yeah. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that at all for him, but I don't know where this goes. I'm assuming, there could be some changes in the next few years, but I don't know. It's sort of, we went from like, no, you can't do anything to like you can do everything. So it's just sort of a weird the dynamic in recruiting is changed a lot. It's really changed a lot in a lot of ways. So and part of that's a high school, like to bring it back around. I mean, part of that's the high school recruiting, and and I think there could be some ramifications. You see different states now are saying, yeah, we're going to allow our high school kids to make NIL, name, image, likeness, money if that's available to them. And I don't think there'll be a huge market for that, but it makes you wonder about the accruement of talent.
The superstars will definitely cash in on that.
And if they can't do it in Indiana or whatever state they're in, why not leave to go to a different state where you can do it, or go to a prep school where you can do it? So, and that's another thing, that's another layer of the, those prep schools will recruit. If they're in a state where they can do it, they're going to do everything they can to get you there. And we've seen some of that with Overtime Elite. They can offer players money, and that's not even, that's just their own thing they can do. So I think it's just, it's a different world, and again, it's probably a relatively small percentage that actually can do that. So you're not talking about, everybody, but it does have an effect down the line. Everything kind of has an effect down the line as far as the waves, the ripple effects. So, it's hard to kind of, for me at least, to wrap my arms around all of it. It's everything's changed so much in the last year or so.
Yeah, and we see that with Indiana, though. I do see them still recruiting. They were kind of behind on the Indiana guys with the change of coaching staffs, but they have been getting back into that. I mean, they're going down. They're Trent Sisley and those guys who I saw play on Friday, which blew my mind. There's no freaking way those guys just finished their freshman seasons.
Yeah.
in college, maybe. I was like, I'm like looking at both. I'm like, wait, you kidding me? I didn't look like that. I didn't look like that in college.
Right.
And Harrelson's even stronger. And I'm just amazed by their size, but they've got 3 more years of high school, first of all, but those guys are going to draw some heavy attention.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And again, that not much changes for those two other than maybe just having more options on where you can go the next 3 years, before college even. So I think it's just going to be, those two, I even as the season started and before the season really is like, those two are different, and I'm not saying they're, slam dunk, they're going to go to the league and do all this, but they're so far ahead of where other kids are, I mean, at that age, that it's just very clear they're high major players to me anyway, and I think to a lot of people. So they're just different. I mean, and they have the size, like you said. They're not, it's not a thing where they matured early and that's it. I mean, they're still growing. They're young. They're not. They're not over grade. Older than their grade, that sort of thing. So I think Jalen actually, I think he just had his birthday here recently to turn 15. So he's that's just.
Are you
crazy.
kidding me?
Yeah, it was April. I know it was April. He turned 15. I don't know what day it was, but he just turned 15. So that's kind of mind-boggling, to say the least.
It is more than mind-boggling, folks. If you'd see the people we're talking about, they like I said, they look like freshmen, sophomores in college. Yeah, Trent Sisley, I don't see him like going to a prep school because or anything like that. I think he wants to be the ultimate Indiana type basketball player, and I'm talking about the high school basketball player, play at Heritage Hills for 4 years, score as many points as he can score. Not that that's what is in his mind, but he's going to score a lot of points. So he wants to be I think he wants to be a part of the Indiana basketball lore. And I don't see him going outside of the state before college, at least.
Yeah, I don't either. I would say he's his family's from there. His mom's she's a teacher I think a first grade teacher in one of the elementary schools close to there. And then his dad works at the school. He was a former coach there. All that history. I wrote about him, I think back in October, sort of a lot of that stuff. And so yeah, I agree. I don't see him. I'm sure being Mr. Basketball is something he wants to do, and you can't do that if you go somewhere else. And I'm not saying Harrelson, I think he's got some of the same goals, but he probably has some other options that would be more possible, I would say, for him, maybe if he wanted to do that down the road. So I don't, and not to say he had a great year at Fishers, and I think that's pretty well set in place where he can go on and have a really good career there too. But who knows? I mean, there's a lot. I hear a lot of things in the spring and summer that don't end up happening every year, and I'm not saying that's about to happen, but you hear stuff sometimes, and I remember hearing for 4 years Trey Lyles was going to leave, and he never did. Had one stayed at Tech and was Mr. Basketball. So you never know for sure how things play themselves out. But it'd be cool if both of those guys stayed and played at their respective schools and. Both had had a run at Mr. Basketball. Obviously, they know each other, and I think like playing with each other. So it'd be kind of fun to see them both kind of how they both progressed through high school, playing in state tournaments and whatnot.